The Legend of Stalvin is a 13-part questline that begins with Madame Ava in Darkshire. It is one of the most memorable, iconic quest series of Duskwood, along with several other storylines, such as those of Morgan Lattimore, Morbent Fell, and the Bride of the Embalmer, Eliza. The Legend of Stalvin questline uncovers the life and descent into madness of Stalvin Mistmantle. Originally from the Silverpine Forest, he spent his time traveling and later became an instructor at the Moonbrook schoolhouse, and as a personal tutor as well. He eventually developed an inappropriate attraction to one of his students, a much younger woman named Tiloa. She treated Stalvin with kindness, something he misinterpreted as a romantic interest despite her young age. He even imagined a future with her, but she was already promised to someone else. Tiloa gave Stalvin a begonia plant, which he further mistakenly interpreted as a romantic gesture. However, Tiloa clearly only saw Stalvin as her tutor. She compared him to an old uncle. This drove Stalvin mad, leading to the series of unfortunate events that we are about to uncover. In this video, we're going to explore the history and lore behind the Legend of Stalvin, so sit back and get cozy. We begin our journey in the town of Darkshire. Adventurers should seek out Madame Ava to begin. You'll find her in one of the homes right inside town on the first floor, beside her granddaughter Alyssa. Some history on Madame Ava: she's a follower of the old arts and a fortune teller. She had sensed that her granddaughter was in great danger, thus prompting us to help her uncover the Legend of Stalvin. She states, "Last night a horrible disturbance ripped through my veins. I sensed that my granddaughter Alyssa was in great danger. I consulted the cards and death stared up at me from the table. After taking a long journey through a dark trance, I was able to uncover a clue to this terrifying mystery. A name came to me, the name of Stalvin. Seek out the clerk in the town hall and see if you could find more about this character. I fear for us all." Following your conversation with Ava, should you accept her request, head towards the town hall of Darkshire to find Clerk Daltrey. "Ah, so Madame Ava sent you. Stalvin, eh? Let me check the town registry. Stalvin. Let's see. Ah, here we go. I have a record of a Mr. Stalvin Mistmantle. The last recorded address is the Moonbrook schoolhouse. My, talk about outdated. Do me a favor, will you, friend? If you happen to go out to Moonbrook, let me know if you get any update on this fellow. I like to keep the records clean." Continuing on, travel to Westfall and into the town of Moonbrook, and make your way into the old abandoned schoolhouse. Right away you'll see that it's been a while since the building has been active. It's dark, damp, with broken windows, tables, and chairs scattered about, and even some piles of bones. Something ominous went on here. You stumble upon an old footlocker that creaks when you open it, and find a dusty, unsent letter inside. It reads, "To the Honorable Headmaster Krillian. My former master, I write to you so that you might know what your apprentice has been doing of late. Paying heed to your advice, I sought to build my knowledge and wisdom through travel outside the gates of our beloved Stormwind. My journeys took me to many places, but I have decided to take up residence here in the lovely town of Moonbrook. The surrounding fields of Westfall are the most beautiful as the harvest approaches. Within just a few days of my visit, I found myself tutoring the local children from the nearby farmlands. The lessons went so well that the town mayor commissioned me to run a school, and construction has begun on a brand new schoolhouse. From Silverpine to Stormwind and now Moonbrook, who'd have guessed that I see so much of Azeroth? Warm regards, Stalvin Mistmantle." After you do inspect the footlocker, you may notice a forlorn spirit appear before you. If you get close, she will attack, so keep your guard up, especially if you're lower level. This forlorn spirit appears several times throughout the questline, and she has several quotes, including, "Let the legend of Stalvin rest. Toil not in matters of the past. Who is this mere being that meddles with that which is past? May the legend of Stalvin die along with you." Moving along, you decide to travel back to Clerk Daltrey to report your findings. "Ah, I remember you. You're the one who's asking about that Stalvin fellow. Did you ever find what you were looking for? Interesting, so the chap did spend some time in Moonbrook after all. It is rather odd the letter never got delivered. Nonetheless, I shall update the registry." He then requests you head to the Lion's Pride Inn to see if anyone there has heard of the name Stalvin, stating, "Oh my, must have missed this the first time. In the registry, right beneath the first address for Stalvin, there's another one listed, only partially scratched out. Looks like he was headed to the Lion's Pride Inn over in Goldshire. Might want to check there. Once at the Lion's Pride Inn, you find a familiar face, Innkeeper Farley. Stalvin? Sure sounds familiar. The name Stalvin rings a bell. I remember now. Many years back, on a stormy night, a messenger came in, seeking refuge for the night. Near the stroke of midnight, the man ran down the stairs screaming, his face pale with fear. Still wearing his bedclothes, he disappeared into the downpour. In his haste, he forgot his letters in the chest upstairs. He never returned for them. One remains from that Stalvan fellow, intended for the Canal District in Stormwind. Help yourself to it. Head on up the stairs to the second floor of the inn. Inside one of the rooms, you'll find the chest the innkeeper spoke of. Open it to find an undelivered letter. It reads, "Dear noble sir, word of your need for a tutor for your children has traveled to me here in Goldshire, where I take up temporary residence in the Lion's Pride Inn. Due to the unfortunate state of events in the region, I was forced to abandon my post as headmaster of the Moonbrook schoolhouse. Please accept my application to serve as tutor for your offspring. Headmaster Krillian of the academy can speak to you of my abilities if necessary. I shall travel to meet you in person when the winter rains subside and the roads are suitable for travel once again. Until then, Stalvan Mistmantle of Silverpine." Your next task is to deliver the letter somewhere in the Canal District of Stormwind. In between the park and the Mage Quarter, you'll find a man named Caretaker Falsam. "You've got some nerve bringing this here," he states as you complete the next part of your quest. He goes on to say, "My father was the caretaker of the estate long before I was. He had to mop the blood up after the massacre. But that's neither here nor there. The last funds of the Flint Ridge Trust have dried up. Now the last of the family possessions are headed for auction. Blame the tax vultures. I guess if you're really itching to learn more, you're free to look through this junk. Who knows what you might find." Beside him are several boxes and crates. You slowly slide the lid off one of the crates to find various objects. Musty heirlooms, a family portrait, a few hunting trophies and some old books. Near the bottom, underneath a ceramic vase, you uncover a torn journal page. It reads, "Giles, the boy, seems a bit rambunctious and will be a challenge to educate. However, the elder daughter, Tiloa, seems exceptionally smart. I couldn't help but to notice her captivating beauty as well. She's on the cusp of womanhood now. Supposedly the Lord has arranged her marriage for next year, but I digress. This week I will accompany the family to their summer cottage near the Eastvale logging camp in Elwyn, close to the Red Ridge Mountains. I hope to write more while there." Set out for the Eastvale logging camp, close to the border of the Elwyn Forest and Red Ridge Mountains. Sure enough, you'll find Marshal Haggard outside one of the homes in the camp. What have you got there? I cannot see. My eyesight is very bad." "Put it in my hands," Haggard says. "I can barely make out those letters, but that writing style reminds me of something I once saw before my vision became so poor. There is a bundle of parchments in the chest upstairs when I moved into this place. I looked at them once when I first arrived, but I gave up once the fog hazed over my peepers. Do an old, nearly blind man a favor and check the chest upstairs for anything that might help you in your quest to discover more about this Stalvan character. I'm pretty sure there's a faded journal page that might be of interest to you. Bring it to me and I'll help in any way I can." You head to the second floor to find the chest Haggard spoke of and see that there is a faded journal page inside. It reads, "Most strange and uncomfortable feeling. Never have I felt the way I did today. Whilst assisting Giles with his history lesson, Tiloa was outside tending to the flower garden. After a few minutes, she came inside and placed a scarlet begonia in my open palm and smiled at me in such a way that my heart felt as though it was trembling within my chest." You return to Haggard. "You found it," he says. "I know of someone who might be able to assist you. Back when I was leading the Stormwind Guard, we used to get drinks at the Scarlet Raven tavern in Darkshire. The innkeeper there, Smits, was quite an expert on local lore. Show him this page and see what he has to say about it." Your next task is to head to the Scarlet Raven Tavern in the heart of Darkshire to speak to Smits. "Marshal Haggard sent you. Why didn't you say so?" "Ah, good old Haggard. Poor chap is going to be completely blind before too long. Anyway, let me see what you got there." He inspects the faded journal entry. "By the light! You bet I recognize that handwriting. I followed the legend of that Stalvan character for years. When those visiting nobles were slaughtered a few years back, I went with Haggard to investigate. I found these muddy pages, but were never able to link the handwriting to that crazy man in the woods. Your trail of evidence proves his guilt." Take this to Commander Ebenlock immediately and fill her in on what you've discovered. Before heading to Commander Ebenlock, you check the Muddy Journal page for yourself. Most certain that she shares the same feelings for me now. She even placed her hand upon mine this morning. When she smiles, her eyes light up like glittering diamonds. Unspoken words pass between us. I can feel her in my pounding heart and heated veins. You turn to read the second page. Anger and fury of the likes of which I never knew existed. How dare she? As I was instructing Giles in the meaning of numbers, Taloa appears before me with a suitor, holding hands in public nonetheless. What an uncouth young man. Rather than introduce me properly, Taloa simply said, "Oh, that's just my tutor, Uncle Stalvin. He's a nice old man." Old? At that word, my cheeks flushed with heat. I am but a few years older, and yet she betrays. Walk outside the inn to find Commander Althea Ebenlock, leader of the Night Watch. This better be good. Let me see what you have and tell me your tale. But by the light, be quick about it. Darkshire's defense is my #1 priority. I have not the time to squander on dead-end leads. You show her the Muddy Journal pages. My, you have proved yourself to be quite a detective. I've had my eye on that creep Stalvin for quite some time. But if this page was written by the same hand, it proves his guilt beyond a shadow of a doubt. In all his days keeping the town registry, Clerk Daltrey has become an expert at identifying handwriting. Show him this page and see if the writing matches that of the registry signature. She hands you a blood-stained journal page. Before heading to Clerk Daltrey, you read it. Downward spiral of despair. First she mocks me, and now she is engaged. The ungracious charlatan was pretending to love when she truly desired to hurt me all along. A black void lurks within me now, and it grows with each waking moment. The blood I shall spill pales in comparison to the tears I have shed. Walk inside the town hall to find Clerk Daltrey again. Back again? What do you have this time? You show him the bloodstained journal entry. Why yes, the writing on this page does in fact match that of the registry signatures. Let Commander Ebenlock know immediately that the handwriting has matched. Her suspicions were correct. Return back outside to Commander Ebenlock to report the news. I knew it. Fine work. Stalvin Mistmantle led a life of depravity. Innocent victims died by his hand. Undoubtedly he is guilty of countless crimes. Now the lunatic threatens Darkshire. The light only knows what sordid acts he's plotting. Travel to the cottage, just north of town, and execute Stalvin, once and for all. When the deed is done, travel to Madame Ava's and show her his family ring. After all, it was her premonition that led to this gruesome discovery, but Darkshire's safer because of her. Head north out of town, and then take the road east to find Manor Mistmantle. You sense a cursed feel in the air. Fetid corpses roam the ground outside his home. You find Stalvin Mistmantle inside his home. Defeat him and bring justice to the victims he terrorized. Once you execute him and collect his family ring, return to Madame Ava. I know, Stalvin is dead, she says. I sensed a wave of hope ripple through the tainted forest. Once and for all, Duskwood is free from his bloodthirst. My joy is hampered by the thoughts of those who fell prey to the horrible beast. Nonetheless, you are brave and cunning. So what exactly were the events that went down? The notes do not give all the details, but Stalvin seems to have butchered Taloa and her young groom-to-be with an axe, and quite possibly her entire family as well. It is then said he carefully hid the bodies and retreated back to his home, northeast of Darkshire, and remained there until the darkness crept into Duskwood and consumed him. So now let's cover some fun facts about the Legend of Stalvin questline. Starting with Madame Ava, like many other things in Duskwood, she's a reference to the Dungeons & Dragons campaign setting Ravenloft. The original adventure also features a character named Madame Ava, a fortune teller who performs a card reading for the adventuring party. Another likely inspiration from the Ravenloft campaign is the character Strahd von Zarovich, who may be the inspiration behind the character of Stalvin. There's a world drop called Stalvin's Reaper. It's a BOE blue axe, and it is quite possibly the axe he used to kill his victims. Another item that may be related to that is the Orb of Mistmantle. The character and storyline of Tiloa is possibly inspired by the novel Lolita. Stalvan's love Tiloa is an anagram of Lolita. Lolita is a 1955 novel written by Russian-American novelist Vladimir Nabokov. The novel is notable for its controversial subject. The protagonist and unreliable narrator, a middle-aged literature professor under the pseudonym Humbert Humbert, is obsessed with a 12-year-old girl, Dolores Hayes, with whom he becomes sexually involved after he becomes her stepfather. Lolita is his private name for Dolores. In the WoW lore, Tiloa was the daughter of Lord Flintridge from Stormwind. Stalvan Mistmantle once came and talked to Tiloa's father and was later given the job to educate his two children, Tiloa and her little brother Giles. One day, she and her family went to their summer cottage near the Eastvale logging camp, and they invited Stalvan to join them. There's not much known about her life before she met Stalvan. You could find a tier of Tiloa by Stalvan's Manor in Duskwood as part of the quest A Noble BREW, but it is unrelated to the Legend of Stalvan questline. You could find Stalvan Mistmantle in the old Hillsbred instance from the Caverns of Time in the Burning Crusade. Stalvan once made a wish in the Dalaran fountain, written on Stalvan's copper coin. The coin reads, "You mages refuse to provide me that which hastens the inevitable fate of two people in love, when only one is too naive to see it. I wish you all ruin." Another fun fact, Stalvan has the same model as Baxter, an NPC found in Hellfire Peninsula. So that wraps up the Legend of Stalvan. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. I put a lot of heart and soul and work into this video. If you enjoy the video, please hit the subscribe button on YouTube. And if you're looking for ways to support the channel, please check out my Patreon at patreon.com/WarcraftBrew. I want to give a shout out to all of my current supporting Patreons who enable me to create content that I love on a daily basis. Your support means the world to me. Thank you so much. You could also follow me on all of my socials, which are listed in the description of this video. As I stated in the beginning, I will be releasing more videos as part of this October series of spooky videos, so definitely stay tuned for the next one. I'll give you a clue. It has to do with a doll. And lastly, don't forget to follow my livestream on Twitch, twitch.tv/QUISSYTV, where I livestream almost every day. So definitely give it a follow, and hopefully I can catch you live. Thank you again for watching, we'll see you next time, and stay chill.